Okay, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. If you could please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. And is Jen on already? Okay, so we have 4 board members present. Ms. Shumway will be on via Zoom, and Ms. Weiser will be joining us shortly. I believe she's traveling or somewhere, but she said she might be just a few minutes late. So we will begin with item 4, which is to recognize FBLA conference results. And Mr. Cody, are you helping us with that?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we don't have the podium? Yeah, wherever you want.
If you wanted to face the camera, you could turn around and kind of look toward Pope up above the. There you go.
Can those guys see me now?
And you can use, Mr. If you need to use this table, you can to put your stuff on or whatever.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rodney Cody. I teach at Lee Williams High School, business and math. And one of the advisors for FBLA is Future Business Leaders of America. And we had really good year despite all the things going on. Our number 1 gal, Amelia Brackett, was not only a state officer for a 2nd year in a row, but then her and Kiona Batista really shined. So to do the official announcement, Lee Williams High School is proud to announce our winners for this year's Future Business Leaders of America state competition for 2021. Amelia Brackett was awarded the FBLA of Arizona State Scholarship. And here, zoom in. You got it. And then after that, we have Amelia Brackett, was this FBLA state officer, and Kiona Batista won 1st place for digital video production with an amazing video about Lee Williams High School. And I believe we're going to play that in just a minute, as soon as I finish. And then the last thing to mention is Amelia Brackett also won 1st place in the whole state of Arizona in agribusiness, 1st place in FBL, which is Future Business Leaders. She won 4th place in advertising, and she won 6th place in economics. So you guys, we do a big round of applause for Amelia Brackett and Kiona Batista. Yeah, they are at the senior dinner at Lee Williams over at the Fireman's Park right now, and they were really bummed, but they got to do their thing. They went there and they said that they're sorry they couldn't make it. And both of them are just amazing. Kiona Batista has just really shined on with the student council this year and the great video announcements that they've been making with Miss Massey, and then Amelia's just fantastic, student doing sports and academics and clubs, and she shines in just everything. So 2 really good students. So their plaquets came out really nice with their awards, and we'll be giving these to her maybe tomorrow night at the awards ceremony. So they did really good. So thank you so much for your time. And if you could play the video, I think people would really enjoy it. So thanks so much, you guys.
Thanks, Mr. Cody.
Thank you.
We at Lee Williams High School are proud to call ourselves volunteers in honor of Richard Lee Williams, principal of the old high school and a volunteer firefighter. He and 10 of his fellow firefighters died in the line of duty on July 5th, 1973, when an inflamed oxopropane tanker exploded. We honor their memories by our motto, Be an 11, taking pride in our school and making every effort to continue their legacy and to be our best selves each and every day.
Students at Lee Williams have the opportunity to excel in academics, activities, athletics, and visual and performing arts. Academically, students have the opportunity to be in a rigorous honors program known as Cambridge. Career and technical education classes empower students with hands-on practical skills for their future careers, while the dual enrollment program with Mojave Community College allows students to earn college credit at no cost.
Whether it is track and field, golf, soccer, baseball, or various sports, athletics at Lee Williams develops students into strong athletes. We make sure to show our school spirit at pep rallies, games, and award nights.
Students have the ability to become leaders in activities and clubs as well. We offer FBLA, HOSA, Skills USA, Student Council, Academic Decathlon, Link Leaders, chess, robotics, and much more.
Arts is also strongly emphasized at our school through support and community involvement, giving students ways to freely express themselves through band, graphic arts, photography, yearbook, drama, or choir.
Being an 11 means you go above and beyond in all things that you do.
It is putting others before yourself and helping those around you.
The history behind the school's namesake is based on a tradition of pride and extraordinary service. We are proud of our culture of excellence and believe our students have the ability to soar. We are the Volunteers.
That's amazing. That's a good recruitment video.
That was very good.
Is right. Yeah. Thanks, Mr. Cody. Awesome. Okay, we'll move on to item 5, which is call to the audience. Would anyone like to address the board this evening? We have no one. Item 6, we have our reports. Our first report will be from Dr. Dorner.
Dr. Lucero, members of the board, just a very brief update on the strategic planning process. We did hold our work session with members from each school community and district office personnel where we reviewed all of the interviews I spoke about last time, the demographic data, the internal scan we did of all of the information from our district. We had a very productive day of hard work, and we came away with a rough draft of our strategic goals and some of the strategies and plans that we're going to polish on June 2nd. So June 2nd, we'll revise those goals. A lot of them are similar and will be continuations of what we've been working on from the last. For example, recruit and retain teachers is always, and staff members always a priority. The good news was safety. We had a 98 or higher % return rate that people felt safe in school and on school campuses through the community, the parents, the staff, the students. So that strategic goal has been met, so it will remain, but maybe move down to another priority, technology, meaningful communication. We'll wrap all of that up on June 2nd. And then I would like a board workshop to get board members' input before we finish the first phase of the plan. And then part of that is facilities. And I thought I would just point to Devin really quickly and ask how our current facilities project with Mid-State's going.
Yeah, so Mid-State currently All right, so with Mid-State, our energy improvement, we're furthest along in water conservation. We should be done in about a month with all of our water district-wide. After that is lighting. We're about a quarter of the way through with lighting, about 20% of the way through with all of our new control systems. All of our air purification is all complete except for Lee Williams because we're waiting on all the new mechanical units to go in. And then solar, we're just entering the permitting process for all of our solar structures, but we're slated for beginning of July. Get started on that.
I think that concludes my report. Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions? No questions? And we have no other reports listed, correct?
No.
Item 7 is approval of the routine order of business.
Mr. President, Dr. Lucero,
Yes.
members of the board, we would like to remove one item from the consent agenda because the date is incorrect. That would be Monica Marks under the approved personnel term leave ratification. So if you could pull Monica Marks before you vote.
Okay. So we'll remove that from the consent agenda if everyone's okay with that. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion, seconded by Ms. Young. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Jen, were you able to vote? I didn't hear you.
Yes, aye.
Aye, okay. Motion passes 4-0. I don't see Beth on there yet, so she must still be traveling. Item 8, approve the addition of 1 or 2 district-wide social worker positions for 21-22.
Mr. President, members of the board, I wish Beth was here for this update, but we'll let her know. We are working, the reason it says 1 or 2, we're not sure yet whether we'll have the funds for 1 or 2. We're working with a grant outside of the school district, the MSTEP grant with former Chief DeVries. And then we are looking at potentially a combination of graded funding through the titles or the art ESSER that's coming up for the other position, but we wanted them approved. So when those funds did come to fruition, that we'd be ready to hit the ground running. It's really a large part of the strategic planning process and what we've experienced in the social emotional needs of not only students but staff. So there will be a lot of strategies tied to those positions and helping our community and our school district. And the job description, as you can see, is under your information section.
Any questions for Dr. Dorner? No questions. Do you have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
A second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Item 9, approve book on display for the required 60 days. Ms. Woolsey?
Mr. President, members of the board, this book has been on display. This would be used supplemental at the high school level. We're asking for your approval
You had no questions on it or anything from the public?
with no input from the public nor teachers, except positive. They would like to use it as a supplemental material
Okay.
in finance.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Item 10, approve studies weekly to be on display for the required 60 days beginning March 19th, 2021. Mrs. Woolsey?
Mr. President, members of the board, this has also been on display for the required amount of days with no input from the public, but definitely have some input from teachers who were the ones who actually brought it to our attention and asked if they could pilot it. So as you know, we have to bring everything to you, even if we were just to pilot some things. We're asking for your approval.
I'll make a motion to approve item 10.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Item 11, first reading, change in ASBA Policy Service Advisory graduation exercises.
President, members of the board, as you said, this is the first reading. And the good news is we're going to read it and then we're going to say, well, we do this anyway. So it should be an easy one. A school district governing board or charter school governing board or any public school may not prohibit a student who is a member of a federally recognized Indian tribe or is eligible to be enrolled as a member of a federally recognized Indian tribe from wearing traditional tribal regalia or objects of cultural significance at the graduation ceremony. So when our kiddos who fit under that category want to wear the culturally significant items, we of course would allow it. And that this is a reading that would change that in the TESPA policy. And then they just further define objects of cultural significance as traditional tribal regalia that include eagle feathers and beads.
Thank you. No motion on this one or action, just the reading. Any questions for Dr. Dorner, or you can call her at your leisure? Item 12, approve maintenance to proceed with the removal process of 3 modular buildings located at Little Explorers pending approval from the facilities board.
Mr. President, members of the board, we want to proceed with removal of 3 modular buildings located at Little Explorers. These buildings have been vacant and in disrepair for years, it seems. Final approval of removal would have to be done by the State Facilities Board because it's non-excluded space. So it generates square footage for our student to square footage ratio. So we want to remove them and just clear out the property in that area.
Any questions for Devin?
Make a motion to approve.
A second.
We have a motion and a second to approve item 12. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Item 13, approve maintenance to proceed with the redesignation of building numbers 1001, 2, 3, 4, and 5 at Paula Christie Elementary School to align with the current utilization.
Mr. President, members of the board, currently, as far as the state is concerned, Paolo Christie is still designated as an elementary school and generates a student capacity of almost 900 students for us. So what we would like to do is have the state look at redesignating it to either a storage facility or something along those lines to better align with how it's currently being used. That way our student to square footage ratio is more accurate.
Any questions?
Make a motion to approve.
We have a motion
A second.
and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. I forgot to mention, thank you, Wendy, for filling in this evening. Are we doing okay?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
We going too fast? No.
Item 14, correct? Item 14, approve annual requirement of ARS 15-905-G for budget reconciliation fiscal year 21. Mr. Sherman.
Mr. President, members of the board, this is the item we approve every year that allows the district to overspend a line item, but never overspend our bottom line. So I bring it annually.
Any questions for Mr. Sherman? No questions?
Make a motion to approve.
A second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. 5-0. Oh, Beth, sir. Hi, Beth.
That's there.
Okay, so motion passes 5-0. Item 15, approve revision number 2 of the fiscal year 21 KUSD expenditure budget.
Mr. President, members of the board, this is the final revision of the year going into the summer and our budget for next year. Everything is balanced. All of our initiatives are in order. We have carryover secured within the M&O, but cash has been depleted. I mentioned in your packet that there was a bit of a mistake, and Mr. Jacks asked me to compare our numbers now to the board workshop we did about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. And so looking back on these, when I say M&O and capital after May revision, I line up everywhere except for one place, and that's in our reserves. So I made a mistake in our first revision. I could not find said mistake, so I moved forward with it. I mentioned to you that our capacity seemed rather large. We hadn't budgeted it for spending or anything like that. Well, when I opened up this newest revision, I found the mistake within a few minutes. And so I've corrected that mistake. But what that did is it took away that capacity that we had, or what I thought we had. And so that's gone now, and our cash is somewhat depleted. We're down to about 3 million in cash reserves, but our budgets are not depleted, and all of our initiatives are still on track. And so now I'll go through the process of rebuilding our cash through all the savings I can find, moving things over to ESSER, finding any other funds to leverage to get that cash back up where it belongs.
And does that change any of the recommendations we gave you?
For
during our
next year,
workshop?
it doesn't, but it puts a
Little tighter.
it puts an onus on me to get that cash back up, because that's our buffer against all of the ills of the world. And so as long as that's not as where we want it, then I'll feel concerned.
All right, thank you.
If anything, the budget's where I thought it would be before the revision mistake. So this is where I thought we were going, but then the revision didn't tie out that way. And I said, okay, I guess we picked up some cash. And now we're back to where I thought we were going into December. So I apologize for anything, but really no harm, no foul. We didn't spend the money.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions for Mr. Sherman or a motion?
Make a motion for approval.
I'll second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Item 16, approved district's recommendation to award RFP number 21-12-26 for security guards and related services. This is a 5-year award which must be renewed each year.
Mr. President, members of the board, we recommend we approve this award, or we award this to Desert Mountain Security. 2 firms bid. Desert Mountain Security meets our needs. The other firm was from California, extremely large, but sounded more like a staffing agency. So they didn't meet those needs, and their price was 40% higher than Desert Mountain. So Desert Mountain is community-based and fits our budget quite well. So I'll take any questions on them
Is
as
this
well.
who we're using now?
Yeah, same security company. Sorry, we only had 2 bidders.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Item 17, approve 1-year contract renewal with the Compass Group's food service provider Chartwells from July 1, 2021 through June 30th, 2022. This is year 2 of a 5-year agreement.
Actually, this is year 3, I think. That's the typo on my part. We're going into year 3, correct? Yeah.
That went by fast, right? I remember that.
Did that
Year
did
3.
year 2 even happen?
Finishing year 2. Okay.
Okay, so Mr. President, members of the board, participation is high. The revenue is up. Keith and I meet regularly about capital improvements that are needed and trying to walk that line with what type of participation we'll be looking at next year and moving forward, as well as making sure we have the facilities to handle those types of things. So all of that is on the up and up. Keith has a brief presentation for you about the year. I'll take any questions here. I guess the main thing to think is before Chartwells, we are creeping toward that red line.
Yeah.
Since Chartwells, we're sufficiently in the black. And so we're going the other way and continue to do so.
We've had a pretty good rapport with them too, haven't we?
It's very good. Yeah. I don't think we could have, I couldn't have imagined it working this well. So. And I'll turn it over to Keith.
I feel the same way.
Okay, thank you.
It's, Mr. President, members of the board, it's just been an honor and a joy working here. Thank you. This next slide, Robbie, could you put that up? Mostly, I mean, I made this presentation because I wanted to show this slide. 1.2 million meals in the last 14 months. This happens to be School Lunch Hero Week, National School Lunch Hero Week. And I'll tell you, the folks have truly been heroes. And it hasn't been easy, but boy, has it been worth it when we see what we've been able to do for the community. Oh, and a shout out to all the bus drivers who have been so wonderful in helping us get those meals out.
It's just feeding straight to.
Next slide, please, Robbie. The USDA has just recently announced that they are extending the pandemic programs through June 2022. So that's great news. So our program will run a whole lot like the last few months have run here. But the great news is we're not wondering what the next week is going to bring every week and shifting and changing. So we're really getting this opportunity now to prepare and have a consistent program through the year. So the things we're looking at doing. So if you could hit that slide, please. So we're making a playbook and we got this substantially made. Safety and quality is just top on our list. We are looking at how can we expand our service models more variety. We're still going to be wrapping and packaging things for quite a while here, but we really want to get that more variety out there for the kids to really just bring joy to their day. They love their lunchtime. Hit the next slide, please. Thank you. So we're going back to the points of sale, and we're making cards for all the kids. So the line still will go very quickly, and we're continuing to do our salad bars with the wrapped fruits and vegetables, expanding our variety, and we're going to add some limited a la carte at the secondary schools. It's actually the kids have really been asking for that. Next slide, please. This is a program that we've tested out with the supper programs, and it's a nutrition education program, and it was voted best new nutrition education program by the industry in the nation. And it really has been, the kids are responding very positively to it because it turns nutrition education into bite-sized pieces of information that relates directly to how nutrition affects their body, makes them feel energy. How eating correctly can make you calmer. Now, it doesn't say that you eat this and you'll suddenly be calm, but it's a great way to get them interested and begin to pick up these little pieces of nutrition information gradually. So we're really looking forward to this in the elementary schools. Our staff has been so wonderful, and I'll tell you, they've worked so hard, and it's made us understand the need to really appreciate them, and not just our staff in the kitchens, but all the staffs. And we've brought our Cheers program out, where we're celebrating cheers to a team and an individual every month. And yeah, pizza parties and prices go with that. I love these. The kids love them. We just started them in the spring here, tested it, and we're getting great responses from the kids. We've relaxed on the uniforms a little bit. We still have our traditional shirts, but we've allowed the staff to also get these theme shirts. It's been a big hit. So it's fun. It's time to add some fun back to our lives after a challenging year. So this is part of our way to do that. And I just wanted to give you a little taste of what's coming. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Can I add one comment, Keith? During our student interviews, when we would ask, what do you like about school? I heard multiple times the lunch. And that was not something that you always hear when you're asking kids what they love about school. Yeah, I did have one student say, not everybody loves pizza. Could you add shrimp? I don't know. I'm just going to publicly make that request for that student right now.
I have to say, I know we had a lot of write-offs on the cafeteria before Chartwell's took over, and it was one of my budget concerns that we had. So I'm really thankful that we did do a partnership with you, and I'll make a motion to renew that contract.
I'll be an enthusiastic second.
So I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? I also want to say that you're very present in the community through your social media or whatever it is. So we always hear about the food service program. So we appreciate that, getting the information out.
Thank you. I was trying to recruit the students from who did that presentation to help us with that. Apparently they're graduating. I said, well, give me some that after.
Right. Any other questions or discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Item 18, review ASBA 22 political agenda and reaffirm the board's top 5 priorities. Are you doing this, Mr. Jacks, or Ms. Weiser? Did they recruit you? Oh, Ms. Weiser. Beth, are you going to speak about this? Okay, we're going to let Mr. Jacks start, and then Beth, if you want to interject, go ahead. Mr. Jacks.
Well, ASBA put out their 2021 political agenda. It's on their website. We got copies of it, but they come up with 5 political agenda items that they want to work on for this 2021 legislative session. And they have, I don't know if you look at the 5, they talk about adequate and equitable funding for district schools to at least the national medium for pupil funding. That sounds pretty good. Preserve and strengthen local control. That one's been very interesting in the legislature. There's been some efforts to change that local control, and so far it hasn't happened. But it's interesting to see where that goes. Improve outcomes for all students was number 3. Number 4, require public accountability for taxpayer dollars spent on education. And number 5 was manage the impact of COVID-19 on the public schools. So those are the 5 that ASBA is suggesting. I guess the only question that I had was on number 3, they had to improve outcomes for all students. And one of the recommendations was increase the compulsory attendance age from 16 to 18. And I was wondering how everybody felt about that, just out of curiosity. Any comments? No? Okay. Anyway, that's what they're suggesting.
This is Beth. I just wanted to state that has been a controversy for years with many school board members.
Yeah. No, that's it. That's the agenda.
Okay, so that's for information. Any questions for Mr. Jackson? No, thank you, Roger. Thanks, Beth. Item 19 is to approve the listed donations.
I'd like to make the motion to approve the listed donations with our immense gratitude.
We have a motion from Ms. Weiser.
Second.
And a second from Mr. Jacks. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Motion passes 5-0. We are on item 20. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Second, and we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.